Reaver. The Legacy of Kain. Reaver. Legacy of Kain. Soul Reaver. Remember that game?
Games?
Yeah, games. There's one where you could play as Kain.
The Cain and Abel fan? He's a vampire or some shit, right?
I guess. Yeah. So, Space Force.
Yeah. I'm Sean.
Yeah. I'm Kyle. This is Space Force.
Wait, you got any nude business?
Nude business? I don't know. I guess I'm not as upset by the internet as I was last week. We'll see.
You're not really upset by the internet. I feel like you were more upset by the reality of America, but
yeah.
I don't blame the internet. Go ahead.
Filtered through the internet. Yeah. It's just like back in the day, like the time of our youth, if you wanted to be like a crazy right-wing gun nut, blah, blah, white national, blah, you had to like put in some work. You had to like go out there and print flyers and brochures and stand at street corners and yell at people and stuff. Now you just post shit on Twitter and Instagram and everyone just has to see your bullshit. But so that's why I say ban everyone from the internet.
Ban the internet. Burn the internet.
Delete the internet. Only big business should have websites. That aligns with my
that reminds me, I gotta
beliefs.
re-up our website. It's coming.
Yeah,
that
reminds me.
That
reminds me.
We're a big business.
We're a big business. This is a big business.
We a big business. We the best business.
Big business time. Nipples popping, panties dropping, Space Force. Oh yeah, the my favorite thing though is we were talking about before the podcast is the headline where President Donald Trump tries to get A$AP Rocky freed from prison in Sweden because Kanye asked him to, and then Justin Bieber said, "Why don't you free the kids in the concentration camps?" It's like, fucking send that headline back in time a few years, and I just want like, what would people in like 2014 say? Like, I mean, what is this real?
I just feel like every year since Trump has been president, I know it's only been a couple years so far, but I'm like, this year's gonna get a little bit better. Like 2019 is gonna be better. It can't be worse than 2018. Here we are.
Man, it has only been like a couple years on.
Yeah. Yep, he got sworn in January 2017.
Wow. I guess we're coming up on 3 years. Fuck, man, the election's still so far away.
Yeah, I know. We got like 9 more months, or well, actually more than that, of the Democratic primary still.
Man, I feel like people campaign way too long now.
I guess I never paid attention to this earlier before.
Yeah. So exhausting. Everything's so exhausting.
All right, we're shutting it down. We're going to take a nap.
Yeah, like, let's just take a break for a while from having the government or society. It's just the Purge movies. We'll do that, but for like
that doesn't seem that seems actually more stressful than the situation I'm in right now.
You think that, but and you're probably right, to be honest. But I do have like this, well, probably just out of the convenience and absolute like soul crushing boredom of modern society, I have this thought that like maybe when the simplest like life possible, where all you're doing is just struggling to survive, might be more fulfilling than the like bleak nihilism of modern society. Like you're like, all right, today I gotta find water, purify it. Tomorrow I gotta go hunting and like fucking.
It would explain why like all those like Minecraft and Ark and like Conan games are popular.
Yeah, just because
games.
It's like simple tasks that you can accomplish. You know what I mean? Like
I get that to a certain extent, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I remember stressful situations, and I just much rather sit at home and read a book. That seems way more fulfilling.
I mean, you can still read books. You just gotta also hunt and stuff.
The life I'm looking for is one where everyone gets along real nice, so I don't have to worry about the news so much.
Mm-hmm.
And really, all my needs are provided for me, so I can just do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen the TV show, the perennial TV show, Robin Big?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want.
That kind of lifestyle. I want to live like Rob Deerdick.
So, in short, give me money.
Give me money.
So you can see me live the lifestyle of Rob Deerdick.
Yikes.
Circa 2006?
I want to live the life of a Twitch streamer. someone invite me to your stream gaming house. I'd love to live with a bunch of middle class Milquetoast fucking 20-something white dudes, and then they have a dog that shits all over the floor, and someone will get accused of sexual harassment.
I am completely out of the Twitch scene. What?
I want in on this shit. Well, like they'll get together like streamer houses, and
sort of.
I'm not specifically referencing any particular event, but
several.
But I'm telling you, based on who are popular streamers, they are all upper middle class, milquetoast, bland, flavorless crackers, and you get them all together, and they just fucking stew in their own toxic shit, and they just seem terrible. This is my main problem with the internet. If anyone's got any tips on like some other like subcultures I can explore on the internet that would appeal to my taste more, please let me know. Like, where are the goths and the punks and like the fun people and stuff,
Yeah.
But I just feel like the internet, the entire culture of the internet is just so middle of the road, center right, middle class, technocratic white boys from like 18 to 25 with like the no creative output. Like, I'm just gonna vomit like the most creatively bankrupt shit I can think of into a Twitch chat. Just like throw it into the void. No one's ever gonna see it, but it's okay because I had nothing to say anyways.
I mean, that's just Twitch. Like, what do you expect from this fucking shit?
Yeah, but also you can see the same sort of attitude is prevalent across all of Reddit.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
And then
you ready for some shit, Kyle? You just don't like most people. That's the reality of it.
I used to like people a lot more when I was younger, but I was thinking about
know as much.
But it's because I just like hung out with my tribe, So I like people a lot when they're also like weirdos like me, but I don't like. I've said it before on the podcast, and I know it sounds like some edgy teenager shit, but I'm legit about it. I'm in constant like conflict with like mainstream culture. Like mainstream culture and I just like rub each other the wrong way.
I don't know if you rub mainstream culture the wrong way. I don't think mainstream culture is aware of you, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
just
get it.
Just general the things that people believe and espouse and subscribe to, and the way they construct their identities and things like that just seem from mildly offensive to just completely abhorrent to me. Like, those seem to be the entirety of the range. I hardly ever like in real life too, like working at jobs and stuff. I hardly ever meet like individual people.
There's a bunch of people you used to work with right now. Like, oh, fun.
I mean, they probably already get it. Like, I'm obviously polite. I'm not a bully or a dickhead or anything, but like
that's what a bully or a dickhead would say.
I'm not trying to be friends with some boring people. And so that's why I watch Stranger Things. The most.
I was trying to fit in a Stranger Things joke earlier because I feel like at one point you felt like you were describing the Duffer Brothers.
I am. Well, they do kind of encompass what I'm talking about, like the bloodless, empty, vacuous.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like, yeah, okay. Like, oh man, yeah, Ronald Reagan was the best, huh? Yikes! Yikes! And then they made Max, the girl who plays Max, kiss a boy and surprised her. And then they kind of made it seem like it was her fault. Yeah, it was that clip from like the...
what? Young girl, in the situation, you are ostensibly her boss, and it's her fault, right?
Yeah. So we saw that. It was pretty bad. So all the critiques that I had about the Duffer Brothers and their ilk, they completely stand. They actually are exactly who I presupposed they were. So, yep, that makes sense.
Yep, I called it.
Yeah. Feudally tried to have a real juvenile take on female empowerment in season 3 to make up for it. Like, oh yeah, we're allies, right? Shout out to subreddits Complete Anarchy and Witches Against Patriarchy, though. Those are like two communities that I actually like on the internet.
I don't like anything on the internet, really. I read it just to hate myself and hate everyone a little bit more. Even those subreddits, I'm sure I'd be like, fuck these people.
I mean, sometimes you're like, well, that wasn't a very nuanced take, but then for them, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt of being like 18 or 19, But When it's like 18 or 19-year-old like MAGA chuz, I'm like, you're fucking dumb. That's the thing though. Is like, how could you be 18 or 19 and already that heartless? You know?
Yeah.
You gotta like. I feel like you gotta like dream a little bit when you're younger. I know that's the idea. Is eventually life will crush you down and you'll become conservative. I've actually gotten further left as I got older.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, like, you fucking experiment a little bit. That's the same thing though. As people try to paint it as though the alt-right is the new counterculture. Like somehow.
Oh, I remember. I read that. I'm pretty sure I showed you that about the punk, or the Clash specifically.
Yeah, alt-right is the new punk. No, it's not. Because the alt-right, you're still espousing and reinforcing the tyrannical beliefs of imperial United States, which is everything punk was rebelling against in the United States and England too, Thatcher and Reagan and stuff. Just because no one wants to listen to you because you're talking crazy bullshit, that doesn't
make you punk.
Like, yeah.
There's plenty of people no one wants to listen to. Look at us.
Yeah, you're marginalized for different reasons than punk was about. You're marginalized because you suck, not because you're challenging the system. Yeah, you are the system.
You are the system. You suck, and no one wants to be around you.
Yeah.
Fucking deal with it.
Anyways,
House.
Yeah, so anyways, House. We watched 1986 House, not to be confused with, I think, 77, the Japanese movie House, Hausu, which is a much better movie. I wish we watched that instead. It's also, the Japanese one is also a weird comedy horror movie, but it's so psychedelic and fucking weird and fun. It's like a Criterion Collection level of good movie.
Oh.
House is like,
so you're saying that
Pete
Buttigieg would really love the Japanese version of House.
Why is he a Criterion?
Someone asked the top candidates like their favorite movie, and he listed like the Criterion Collection as his. Not like
just
he didn't say it,
the Criterion Collection,
but he was like, the Seven Samurai. It was, I can't remember the list, but like Mulholland Drive.
Oh, like the top 5 most popular ones. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess being the pretentious film guy that I am, I do like the Criterion Collection because they do remaster and restore a wide swath of movies at this point. They did start out where it was just like, yes, of course, guitar, but like the fact that they remastered House, this is a niche cult movie. The Japanese one, not this one we're talking about. This
one was made by the guy that made Soul Man. If you don't want to know what Soul Man is, it's a movie set in the 80s about a upper class white kid who, in order to get a scholarship, basically dons blackface.
Yeah. Which is great. He also directed Friday the 13th Part 2. So he's got that
one's good.
He's got that go for my favorite Friday the 13th. We'll watch it eventually.
Is the third one the one where he's like a little kid and he has a weird mask? I like the third one. I think I like
the third one.
Or maybe it's the fourth one. I don't know. Whatever.
The second one, he's just got like a sackcloth.
They all blend together.
Yeah, except for Jason fucks Manhattan, where he punches that guy's head off.
Oh, and then Jason fucks Freddy.
He fucks him good. Who does win that fight?
Nobody?
Is it like the people, the human characters?
I think, shit, one of the Destiny's Child is in it. Not Beyonce, obviously.
Oh,
is it Michelle? Or is...
I gotta think of the Kanye lyrics. We rolling with some light-skinned girls. That's some Kelly Rowland. Yeah, it's like Kelly Rowland. Yeah, it was Kelly Rowland.
Yeah, I think it was Kelly Rowland.
Yeah. She was almost, for a second, it was like Beyonce and Kelly Rowland. She's hanging in there with, oh no, never mind. Beyonce's gone. It's weird how fame works. And colorism. I have a feeling that has a lot to do with it. I hope no one's mad that I quoted those Kanye lyrics in Summer White Boy. I don't know what level of sensitivity people have about that.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's too late now. I'm not editing it.
Next Generation Productions is canceled.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Sorry.
I always knew we'd cancel ourselves.
Yeah. I just thought it would be for something crazier. All right. Well, once again, 1986 House. This is also Fred Decker adjacent, like Monster Squad, in that at one point, I guess like Fred Decker, Steve Miner, the director, Shane Black, some other dude who's a producer, they're all like bros or something. I'm guessing like
when you're like a shitty dude in Hollywood, just in the 80s. Just
well, yeah, I just feel like they're like a rape gang or something. You know what I mean? Just based on like them being 70s, 80s like gross Hollywood guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that for sure. It's just a vibe I get. But anyways, at one point they went and saw the Twilight Zone movie. And they were like,
John Landis.
We should do our own like anthology film.
And we'll kill a couple kids.
Yeah, and it never came to be, and probably no one ever thought about it again. But Fred Decker did come up with this story that became House. Someone like did the actual script though.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like there was a script here.
It
seems like maybe like they got there on the set one day and like, all right, what should we shoot here today?
Well, I think it was more like everyone like Poltergeist. You know, because it is kind of.
Is it? Sort of.
Well, it's got like some of like the same premises and stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
I just like it because it's tonally really dissonant. Like what? It's a horror comedy, but the comedy doesn't work,
and the horror doesn't work.
But some of the horror works as comedy, and then some of the comedy is just so horrifically bad it circles back into being comedy, but for different reasons. And then the monsters look really cool.
Yeah, the creature design's pretty cool.
I like this is why I liked it when I was like 14 or 15. It's basically, especially because of Big Ben at the end, who looks like an Iron Maiden album cover.
I think you mean the bull from Night Court.
Oh, I was trying to remember what.
Oh, you didn't recognize?
I was gonna look it up after I watched it, but I was like, man, that dude's from like a 90s TV show, or I know him from like a TV show.
You remember Night Court?
I do now. Yeah. He's a big guy.
He's a big one.
Yeah, he's a big fella.
Which means he's probably like 6'2" or 6'3".
Yeah, for movie films and stuff.
Also, it's got Norm in it.
But yeah, George Wendt.
Classic 80s sitcom actors.
George Wendt. One of the sequels.
There's sequels?
Oh yeah, there's like House 2 and 3 and 4 and stuff. I think by 3 and 4 it's like completely detached from the original idea, but there's sequels nonetheless. The second one though has George Wendt's characters in Cheers' best friend. Really? He's also in Toy Story. He plays Ham and stuff.
I can't remember his name. Cliff is the character's name, but what the hell's the dude's name?
I don't know. He's a Pixar guy. But he's in the sequel, so that's an interesting connection. And
I think they obviously did that intentionally, right?
Maybe, or like they tried to get George Wendt back, and he's like, "Nah, here, talk to my friend.
Talk to Cliff.
he'll take care of that." That's about all the fun facts I got for this movie, because I don't know how. It's not fun. It is fun, actually. This is a fun movie. It's just bad.
I mean, the premise of this movie is basically like, what if Stephen King fought in the Vietnam War and had trouble writing a book? Because, right, I get the vibe that the writer, Rutger is the character's name, right? It's supposed to be a Stephen King type of author.
You would think so, because the time period this movie was made and when it takes place, it's what author was famous enough for people to recognize, like, visually and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So, Stephen King, that's the only person I can think of. And then I think this is after Jacob's Ladder, which is the sort of penultimate like Vietnam PTSD horror movie, which we should watch eventually. It's actually good
like a
movie.
good one.
It's very terrifying. The 80s, I think, is when people were first coming to realize the idea of PTSD from the Vietnam veterans and stuff. So you see it pop up a lot in media in like the late 70s through the 80s.
Yeah, I think that's when it's really starting to become
public, not
like a public idea. Yeah. Obviously, you go like to talk about shell shock and shit like that, and there's always been that kind of idea
that war is best.
Yeah,
well, not anymore though.
It's also kind of an interesting idea too, because you can go back and read accounts of like medieval soldiers and shit like that, and it doesn't seem like they had as much PTSD, or at least they didn't talk about it as much. So I think there's an argument to be made that modern war is very different than the way we've always fought wars historically too. Because really, it used to be like a war would be like 1 or 2 battles, and that's it.
Yeah, and it wasn't like,
it was a couple hours, and you're done.
Yeah, and people weren't like getting slaughtered wholesale.
For days on end, and explosions rocking you waking you up every morning, and that kind of shit. It's like that's sustained. You can't maintain that level of anxiety day to day. I don't think.
I don't know if we can say that completely.
We
though.
Can't, because we don't have a whole enough account of.
Because we don't know like what the peasant class's experience was in medieval warfare.
Exactly.
All we hear about it the gentry, like the knight classes, where they didn't ever get killed. They were taken for bounty and ransom.
Usually,
yeah, because it was like a fucking business arrangement. I don't know.
That's also not. That's also like that's a medieval style of war. But you can go back even further and talk about like the Romans.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really ransom each other.
No, but they would prefer to like capture leaders of groups, though, right?
Yeah,
because then they could get like their subordinates to like kowtow.
Really, most of the until very recently, the most of the dying actually happened after one army already broke. You know what I mean? Like the killing would the two sides would fight and it would be relatively equal, but when one side breaks and runs, that's when the other side starts to die, right?
It seems like he'd be like, all right, we won, but no, it's like, all right, we gotta get them. I can't say one or the other if like humans were more bloodthirsty or just the elements of war back then were less traumatizing or cultural
I don't know if
perception
it's less
changed so people had
traumatizing. I
more
just don't
guilt
think
about
we
it.
sustained that level. Wars didn't go on for 5 years and you had a battle every day.
Yeah, and you were in a completely foreign country, away from everything you know.
Well, I mean, I think that part is probably true back then. But,
well, the Crusades, I guess.
Or even further back, really, because you can.
Those are the professional soldiers, though.
Right? Yeah, that's true. I just think it's a different experience than Vietnam or even World War II, where
World War I sounds like the worst.
Yeah, World War I sounds fucking insane. I never want to do that.
Yeah, the trench stuff is. It stresses me out so much. It's just like anytime. Obviously, you can't go.
Plus, I know you hate when your feet are wet.
That's what I was just gonna bring up. Anytime it's depicted in movies or accounts or books and stuff, it's just like, oh god, the trench is so terrible. It's always wet and gross. Yeah, you can't smoke a cigarette; they'll shoot you. But then everyone stops fighting to celebrate Christmas together. Play a game of footy.
Yeah, well, the 1 year, and after that,
the government's like, you can't do that. You're supposed to kill your.
They're not humans.
That's the thing, though. We talked about before. Like soldiers usually shoot over each other's heads.
Right.
Like people don't necessarily want to kill each other.
When they're confronted with it, they don't do it.
Yeah. I would though. I'd be like, take this, you goddamn kraut.
That's racist.
They're not a race, they're an ethnic group.
That's true of all races.
Correct. So it's impossible to be racist. Got it.
Shit.
You just be an ethno-supremacist.
What's the difference?
There's not much. That reminds me, before we get into the real meat of this meaty film with meaty monsters that look like they're from Bloodborne, there's this like contest that is held in Europe, and it's like 15-minute documentaries, like really short documentaries. And one of them, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a unionist kid in Northern Ireland, and he just looks like a heroin addict. His teeth are all fucked, and he's all skinny and gross, and he's there at like the 12th day parade or whatever, where they celebrate, like, can't remember what it is. Sorry, I blanked on my Irish history. Sorry, I'm a plastic patty, oh god. But he's there like, yo, fuck these patty bastards, these Catholics. He's Jamaican too. But he's got a shitty, like, do you know the Nazi eagle?
Yeah.
And he does like the Nazi salute, and it's just like, man, you're such garbage. It's so. All historical context that goes into that situation happening is like so strange, and he's like so unaware of it.
I don't even know like how much like the Nazi salute and the eagle.
Yeah.
And
so well, all right. So you
fuck you, you fucking patty shit.
Yeah. So you live in Northern Ireland. He's a unionist.
I don't do a good Belfast accent. I don't think.
Yeah. It's your ma. A lot of people in Northern Ireland, close to 50%, are Protestant and they identify as British. He's one of these people, and he just loves being British so much more than having the national identity of being Irish. So, fucking, if you don't want to be Irish, then fucking leave the country. But which is okay. You can kind of understand that for a second, but then you think about all the atrocities of unionism or Protestantism as all the sectarian violence in Ireland and British occupation, all that shit. That's all garbage. But you can understand historically why these shitty people.
But not the Nazi part.
Yeah, but then when you think about it a little bit more, it's like, well, why do you love the Nazis? A lot of the Nazis were raised Catholic. That a lot of Germany was Catholic in the periods leading up to World War II.
Charlemagne.
They were pretty anti-Christian as a movement, to be honest. So, but they also did try to like destroy Britain. The thing is, but Hitler didn't want to because he considered them like cousins, the English.
Yeah,
because
they're Anglos. I got a funny Irish Anglo-Saxon thing for you.
It's just, I don't know. It's just the lack of education, and he just perfectly encapsulated like the weird tribal, ethno-racist, shitty, stupid person. You know, so, what are you even talking about? What do you represent? And you're gonna die in a few years from a drug overdose.
There was a Republican either state rep or maybe a congressman, I can't remember, the other day, and I'm gonna paraphrase this, but he's like, I'm a person of color, I'm white, my family's from Ireland, we're Anglo-Saxon, we were made fun of for it. I'm like, what?
What? That's kind of like the big thing in Irish nationalism and republicanism is, oh no, we're not Anglos, we're Celts. There's a historical debate to be had about what's Celtic, what's Gaelic, and how does that apply to the British Isles, and what are the actual like ethnic differences between most of the people of the British Isles. But broadly, the concept is, especially in Ireland, is like, no, we're not Anglo-Saxon. So this man is an Ulster landowner. His family came over and was not persecuted against. They were the people that were like Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York, who were from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, goddamn.
Or like the Isle of Man or whatever. And they're like, ah, shit, we don't want to be associated with these Irish people. Let's kill them.
They're the landowners. The renters.
Landlords and the bailiff. I mean, they could be like poor Ulster Irish that worked the plantations, but they were still jerks when they came to America. God damn it. As most people were, to be honest. Because that's the integration concept of the United States. Is use shit kicks down. Our black brothers are always at the bottom.
Well, I mean, how do you get up unless you kick the people at the bottom?
Yeah, so the concentration camps are taking place now. Obviously, this is us, like, fuck Central Americans. They're the worst. They're different than us. Blah blah blah. I do think
I got a hot take about the difference between Irish people fleeing laissez-faire genocide and Central Americans fleeing their failed states.
Well, failed states caused by the United States, by the way.
Yeah, well, but it doesn't really matter in my context. But what the fuck is the difference?
Nothing really.
Exactly.
But here's the thing, though, is and just like you're saying, I'm not one of those people. Oh, Irish were slaves too, so slavery doesn't matter. Blah, fuck that shit. No, there's nuance to everything. But I do think it's important to understand the history of race or ethnicity in the United States, and you do have to kind of track how like the Irish, Polish, Jews, Italians were treated, how they became white, that sort of thing. Because white's an arbitrary designation. They just dole it out when they feel like you've been shitty enough to black people, I guess. But that said, I do think there's going to be some parallels with how we're treating people of Central and South American descent. And I could easily see 100 years from now, like they'll be incorporated into the system so much, especially because they are Catholic, and they can be used to help with Republican votes. Because they might vote based on abortion rights.
I don't know. Statistically, Catholics vote more Democrats than more Democrat, like 55%.
I don't think they do anymore, right?
No, absolutely. Especially after I looked. The last numbers were 2012, but in 2016 they voted more heavily for Clinton than Trump.
Oh,
it's evangelicals are as far as the Christian movement. It's absolutely evangelicals that vote so heavily for Trump. It's crazy.
Yeah,
the rest are almost split 50-50.
Well, here's the thing is, we need to get rid of the concentration camps now. We can't be allowing this to happen just because historically there's a precedent for incorporating people that we didn't see as people at some point, which is the parallel I'm trying to make eventually.
They'll be considered people?
Yeah. It doesn't matter right now. And also, who knows in like this fucking hell world we live in now, like if we'll even get to the point where it even matters, well, I mean, or not that it even matters. It matters right now, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, fuck the concentration camps. The United States is a terrible, weird, fucking imperial machine that just chews people out and turns them into mush and has this mono, meaningless culture that it forces everyone into. And eventually they'll probably do it to Mexican immigrants. Well, in fact, they're doing it right now. There's people of Mexican descent that happen to lucky to be born on the side of this arbitrary border, and now they're ICE guards oppressing their own people. And, I don't know. It's just terrible how the United States works, is what I'm trying to say. It's a evil country, as most countries are evil. I mean, it's not saying specifically the United States. We have our own brand of like evil, but you just fucking can't trust the state.
So House.
Yeah, I guess so. Speaking of all that, the Vietnam War. So in the 80s, did people have like kind of grasp on the full fallout of the Vietnam War at that point?
Yeah, I mean, like,
where like, it was an extreme failure. It was
I think by this time they had a pretty good idea of what the situation is. I mean, it's always an evolving idea, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, like in 2019, we don't have quite the same understanding of Vietnam War that someone in 1986 did. And who's to say that theirs is less correct than ours today? Mm-hmm. But yeah, by the 80s, like you had by that point, I think you've had MASH has come out, the movie, the book. I think the TV show might have.
That was about the Korean War, though.
Yeah, okay, whatever. The TV show was on. Yeah. I think like China Beach, that might have been gone by now.
Uh-huh.
Like, so there's there's
Born in the USA.
Yeah, and there's there's been media and TV shows and books.
Rambo been out
about the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have a pretty good
there's a cultural understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the reason I was asking is because
the hammy way they handle it.
The way it's treated in House is so like mechanized and like bland, just an
generic
afterthought. Yeah, like. So it has. My thing is, it had to have been at this point like ingrained in culture enough where like they could just be like, yeah, he fought in Vietnam, so he's fucked up or whatever. Yeah. People are worried about him because it is just kind of thrown in. I guess he's writing a book about his experiences, so maybe he's attempting to confront his past demons and they're manifesting as real creatures and blah blah. You could have a broader story in there, but then you'd just be making Jacob's Ladder. So instead,
what I like to do is just throw in like a random Swedish woman and her child to soak up an extra 15 minutes of runtime.
Oh, you think she's supposed to be Swedish? I was having a hard time trying to figure out what her vaguely pan-European accent was supposed to be.
I thought it was supposed to be Swedish, but
I was like,
I heard bork 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 at one point. This is my son. He is here for the babysitting. Bork bork.
She was real fast and loose with her son's safety.
She had to get that dick, I assume.
She's going to a dick appointment like in the evening. I guess.
When do you go for a dick appointment?
Like overnight, like all night. All night.
This is the 80s. She's wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Man, the 80s sound like shit.
It's go 80s.
His aunt has died. She's a crazy lady.
Broadly, this story makes no sense because he's grown up in this house, right?
Mm-hmm.
His aunt clearly is crazy and believes the house is like a murder house out to get her. But he spent his entire life there and never experienced this. Does his aunt suddenly start thinking the house is weird, or has it always been weird?
Well,
him and his wife and his son live there too, right?
Well, his son, at some point they lived there, or they were visiting.
Because he's out there clipping hedges, and I mean, maybe he doesn't live there because it's apparent he's never clipped hedges in his life.
Yeah, he's just horizontally.
Yeah, what are you doing, man?
Well, I'll split these leaves in half. Yeah, his son disappears. He gets captured by the house, which is okay. But what is the context of them being there? Presumably they're maybe staying the weekend and he's helping his old aunt with housework now that his uncle's dead. It's kind of implied that his uncle may have got by the house too, or he died in a fishing accident and disappeared. We start the movie. There's a delivery boy, and I want to bring up this much detail because it's funny to me. He rolls up on like a Vespa. Mm-hmm. He's delivering groceries. First thing that's funny to me is how groceries are always depicted in movies. It's always a big brown paper bag.
And it's like a carrot hanging out.
Yeah, make sure there's some green stuff at the top and, throw some other shit in there. So that cliche is funny to me. But then also you can tell the actor doesn't really know how to ride the Vespa because when he goes to park it, he just like straight up like bumps into the curb. He's just like, He's like, all right,
I think that's character detail.
Put the kickstand down. At first, I was like, why didn't he park in the driveway? Is it because the camera team was like, moving through the driveway at the time? But I was like, well, I guess he's just delivering. He's got to be ready to go. He comes in, Granny, Auntie. I'm going to call her Granny just to make sure to really drive home she's an old, crazy lady. She has hung herself. She's hanged, rather.
No, she hangs herself right when he gets in. He calls her name, and then you can hear the chair or her drop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't catch all that. I wonder what I was doing.
No. But she's hanging out.
But yeah, she's hanged. He freaks out and runs away, though. He's like, oh, fuck. And that kicks off the start of our movie film. An old lady is dead, and here's a writer signing books for people.
No, it's right after that goes to the funeral. It's funeral,
yeah.
And then he's signing books.
Oh, this movie has a lot of, like, openings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like Granny kills herself, the funeral. Those are kind of attached, but then it seems like a new character opening where he's signing books.
Yeah.
And then he talks to his ex-wife, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it. And then
it's not his ex-wife; it's his current wife.
He says he's divorced at one point. They're obviously still have a relationship, but they're kind of separated. And stuff. And you're like, okay, now the movie should flow more naturally, right? Everything's established, no problem. He goes to the house because he needs solitude. He needs to confront his demons, seemingly. He also got writer's block, and he's having a bad time. He's a real harried kind of 80s guy with the thoughts and feelings, which aren't expressed very well in the movie. They're buried in there. And you're like, cool, the movie's on its way. But then suddenly, while he's getting a tour of the house, flashback, another establishing opening scene where we learn that his son disappeared. Like, I just feel like it was in such a weird place.
I don't know. There's too much going on.
Yeah,
and none of it's explained well or like written out or thought out or connects.
Yeah, so he's clipping hedges. His son's playing with toys. He disappears. He runs around the house. He sees a car pull away. Does not immediately assume kidnapping or anything.
Which is what I would have assumed.
Yeah, I'd be like, it's that weird black car.
Yeah, I would have gone in my car and chased it down.
And then he runs to the backyard and he sees his son in the pool, and he dives into the pool and is looking around underwater. Like, where's the kid at? Like, in the pool. Like, you've seen these scenes before where usually they're jumping into, like, a lake or a bayou or something where visibility would be low. It'd be hard to, like, find someone drowning or whatever. And he's acting it out the same exact way, and it just looks so ridiculous because it's a pool. But then you find out the son's not actually there. He's been desaparecidoed by the house. Or it was just an illusion of the house tricking him or whatever, and his son's not there. So it kind of makes sense in context, but when he first jumps in and he does that, it just looks so stupid.
Yeah. I don't know how you get away from that, because if you jump in the pool and you see the kid when you jump in, but then you jump in, you're in the pool, and it's not there, you definitely do one of those. Like, what the fuck?
I'd be like, man, I gotta piss.
That's a cool pool.
Yeah, the backyard. That house is nice. It's in Marin County, which is where the rich people live. Mm-hmm. George Lucas. All the rich Georges live in Marin County. And I guess this is kind of related. You're talking like, you see the car pull away, and you'd immediately be like, I'm gonna chase those motherfuckers down. Which is, it seems like a perfectly natural reaction. I saw something on the internet. I think it happened a while ago, but I just happened to see it like last night or the night before. There's this guy who was he had like stripped naked in a McDonald's and was running around outside. Yep. And he kept like putting his finger in his ass and like forcing people to smell it. And I was he was like, so obviously he's on PCP, right? This is
something, yeah.
Well, I'm like, the PCP seems to have
a crazy person,
a big history of making people really hot so they take their clothes off and then doing weird shit. Like, that's Sherm. That sounds like Sherm to me, There's trends in certain drugs where, like, bath salts, maybe you're gonna kill your roommate and eat them. But like, you smoke a Sherm stick, like, you always see people, like, just taking their clothes off and being sweaty and weird on PCP from the dust. But I was just thinking about it. All right, so, not to take away from the seriousness of his crime, it is assault. It is, like, pretty strange. But I was thinking about myself personally in that situation. Like, my reaction I probably would, like, get violent, right?
I'm not gonna let a naked dude get close enough to me to grab my head and make me smell his
right,
poop
right.
fingers.
But like, what if he snuck up on you and got you and blah blah?
What if he literally did that? He swung behind. He's like, I got you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like he was just kind of like chasing people down, and like people weren't ready for it. I was thinking about it like, so it's not life threatening, and it's like not to me personally. It's not like
it's probably not life threatening.
Yeah,
here's what you mean.
It's not dangerous. He didn't like really hurt me, and
probably not dangerous because you don't know what kind of shit he's got.
Right, and I'm not trying to say, like I said, I'm not trying to take away the seriousness of assault and how it could even be like sexual assault sort of thing. I'm just saying, if it happened to me personally, I probably the thing I would be of two minds, is what I'm saying, because there would be like, oh my god, like fucking my day is ruined, my week is ruined, my month is ruined, what happened, how could this happen? But then I'd also be like, well, it's not that big a deal, but it still would be like a huge deal. You know, like, fuck, what do I do now? Like, how can I go on living? You know what I mean? Like, it's
you got PTSD from the PCP,
but then I'd be like, well, it's not like that bad, So I'm just curious what how you would deal with that situation. You're just like, well,
yeah,
fuck.
Man, like I would be pissed. Like it would definitely not be one of those things that would ruin my week, assuming like he didn't have like hepatitis or some shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, but you just imagine like sitting in your car afterwards, driving home, like
the whole drive home, like, what the fuck happened to me? I'd be done for the day. I'd go home and I'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna take a shower. And if you need me, I'll be in my room.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you just like. Just sit on the edge of your bed and just like.
Man, I was trying to forget. I definitely like have a stiff drink.
Yeah, watch a movie or
watch
something.
Spaced. Yeah,
that's
my go-to when I need a minute to myself. I'll go and watch Spaced.
I think I
thanks, Simon Peck.
Yeah, I just like watching The Simpsons or Futurama.
Simpsons or Futurama was good too.
Yeah,
especially Marge versus the Monorail. Thanks, Conan O'Brien.
And real quick before we get back into House, I want to point out that this man was like super fit.
Oh yeah, he's a Gutenberg.
Oh no, I mean the PCP butthole man. He was super fit and also straight up looked like Jesus of Jesus Marathon.
Was it?
Well, I don't know. If I was like good at Twitter, meaning that like I'm good at on the fly, I didn't think about it till later. I would have like sent the picture to Jesus and be like, man, what the hell happened? What you been up to, bro? Yeah, but he's like hella fit. I was like, damn, how do you get so lean? Like he looks like he worked out a lot.
I'm just saying, PCP gives you a lot of energy, and if you can direct yourself when you're on it.
Well, here's the thing: is he basically what I'm saying is he didn't look like a crazy homeless PCP monster man.
You can never tell.
Yeah, well, he just looked like a regular dude who probably took PCP and. You'll get you. Anyhow.
Maybe it's just a marijuana with a little bit of PCP on it.
A little bit of PCP. No, you just soak cigarettes in PCP and so smoke them bad boys up. Get that sure.
That's one I have no desire at all to take PCP.
Yeah, I'm not interested in PCP. I think I've made it through the woods though, where like it's not likely that I'll accidentally smoke PCP. There's a period of most of my 20s, like there's
some danger,
constant possibility that I might accidentally smoke PCP for sure, because I've accidentally done a few drugs I didn't mean to during that time period. And that's just how it goes when you're out there having a good time
in Vietnam,
living your life. I have PTSD from my drug years, comparable to Vietnam, I'm sure.
Just like Donald Trump.
Yep, bone spurs, right?
Well, his personal Vietnam was all the dangerous pussy he was getting. You didn't hear that?
Getting or grabbing, snatching, stealing, coercing.
Yeah.
Raping.
To him, there's no difference, Kyle.
Yeah, he just makes him a real stud, right? A real go-getter, a strong fella.
I don't understand how it could be rape if I myself, as a physically stronger man, if I can force her into it, it's not rape, right? I'm
gonna use that excuse when I start raping other dudes, like other rapists. Like, oh, sorry, I was stronger than you, so this is how it goes. Sorry, you can't even complain. Look at how you were dressed, sir. You just had those dad cargo shorts on and your Proud Boy t-shirt.
Well, how was New Balance?
Yeah, what else did you think I was gonna do looking so sexy like that coming around here? Come to my neighborhood, fucking I'll take your shoelaces. Put it in your ass.
Yeah, we didn't talk about house.
Yeah, but we're about to. George Wendt is in it, and he's real fucking annoying, honestly. Like, I put myself in the shoes of our crazy PTSD writer friend, and if George Wendt kept coming around, I'd have been like, I'm gonna have to kill this guy.
You don't have to do it. You just gotta have him hang out in the closet or in the pool for a little bit.
Yeah, eventually a monsters will get him. They established early on that it's like midnight the monster comes out, but then after that, after like a couple midnight scenarios, it doesn't matter anymore.
It seems to happen.
They just monsters are around. My favorite monster though is the wife monster.
Yeah,
I like so he.
Can we talk about real quick? Just like when the wife shows up and he's like, "Oh shit, you're here!" I can't remember the fucking character's name. And then she turns into a monster and he shoots her. And then he's like, "Oh crap, the cops are coming. I accidentally shot my wife. Better hide the fucking body." In his mind at that point, does he think he killed his wife?
I don't know, but I would love to get back to that. But to provide more detail to this scene, I mean, we got to talk about all these great comedic beats in this scene. So he's planning on shooting the monster, right? You know, he's got a shotgun already. He comes downstairs and he sees his wife, and then his wife reaches down to pick up some shells for him. Pops up, oh, it's a monster in a dress. Psych, you thought it was your wife. Shoots it, murders the shit out of the monster. Oh shit, it actually is his wife. Maybe he's crazy. Hide the body because the cops are coming. Which we'll get back to that. Why he would do that. But then body disappears. Oh shit, the monster's back in his wife's dress. It was a monster the whole time. He beats the shit out of the monster. I just like all the twists. It's like, oh, it's your wife. No, it's a monster. No, it's your wife. No, it's a monster. Like, if I was a spooky monster, like, trying to drive someone crazy, I straight up would do that. Like, you just don't know what's real anymore. Everything's your wife or a monster.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't seem like the monster house that has any particular rules. It's just whatever needs to happen in this particular scene.
Yeah, it's just gags. You know, it's trying to be a series of gags like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I think. But
their gags are not as good.
They're like even less connectivity, and then not really as funny. I do really like the wife monster though; it looks so ridiculous. I guess there's like Evil Dead kind of vibe to the monsters, but then played even more for comedy. Yeah, he dismembers it.
No, it doesn't. Well, yeah, I guess he takes off the hand and the head.
Oh,
he doesn't do it like the floating.
Yeah, so he gets attacked by ghostly gardening tools at one point, and then
there's a painting his aunt had done.
Yeah, you see it earlier. The cop looks at it, but he gets followed around the house by these ghostly gardening tools, and then luckily he's able to dodge them in the perfect situation where that they get the monster instead. Which I guess the gardening tools have some sort of sentience, but like not enough to stop flight, or the hedge clippers behead the monster, and then he takes the corpse outside, and Swedish lady, I guess, is swimming in the pool. She just has like no sense of like personal property around, which is great. I support it. She's an anarchist. I'm into it.
No, she's not an anarchist.
No, she's just a jerk. But she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna flirt with you real hard because hey, I know when a man needs to work and when he needs to play." Oh yeah, cool. But there's gags going on at the time. The monster's like trying to reach out and grab toes, and he's like, "Oh, wash your toes, boy." And stepping on the monster, gags like, "Oh yeah. As people treat him, the cops too. People seem to treat him. They seem to just ignore a lot of his manic behavior.
Well, I can understand why, like, the Swedish woman does.
Because she's trying to use him.
And why Norm kind of does. Because Norm actually kind of seems like he's worried about his manic behavior.
Well, yeah, he calls his wife at one point. He's like,
yeah, I guess I'll watch him for you. Hopefully he doesn't kill himself.
He's having,
you don't care, I guess.
He's having flashbacks and shit. Yeah, because at this point, he's always in his army gear.
Yeah.
And he'd set up multiple cameras to capture the monster that comes out of the closet.
Norm saw him running around the house screaming. And like, some shotgun.
Well, that's the thing is, he tests out his plan to capture the monster on film, where he's gonna pull the string and open the closet. He has to do a dry run of it though, and so he like flips to halfway down the stairs, jumps the rest of the way, rolls, runs out to the front of the house, slides on his knees, and does like a Nixon victory.
Oh, I did it!
And then Norm sees him do it. He's like, what the fuck? Because it's also like, why was he doing all that shit?
I don't know.
Again, that's the thing. Up until that exact point in the movie, they had been playing it relatively straight. Aside from like the flashbacks with his aunt being kind of weird, they'd been playing it relatively straight. And then all of a sudden, it's like, here's some comedy kind of, but it's more just off-putting. Where you're like, what the fuck was that scene about? Which makes it funny in a meta way, I guess, like looking outside of the film in, it's like, yeah, that's funny because it sucks, but it's not funny in the context of the film. So that's not really cute. He does seem like a crazy person. So yeah, Norm's worried about him. Swedish lady's not. The cops didn't. They seem suspicious, but then they're also just like, well, yeah, he's a famous guy.
The whole situation with the cops, it really seems that the cops are just trying to play him so they can get in the house and they get some more information. Like, I honestly didn't believe that the cop did not need to use the bathroom. He was just trying to get in the house. And like,
but then nothing happens.
And then nothing happens. It goes nowhere.
Yeah, they're just like acting suspicious. He's acting suspicious. And then everyone just has coffee and goes their separate ways.
Yeah. And it's never mentioned again.
Yeah. But yeah, so he does dismember the monster body because it won't stop living. So they like cut to him after he gets with the Swedish lady, and he's dug like 30 holes to obviously put separate body parts into.
There's a very important song being played.
Oh yeah, you're no good, you're no good. This is a great song.
You're no good. They have another Linda Ronstadt song in there.
Oh really?
Yeah,
they love
right after that. I think
they love the Ronstadt. But I was like, man, you imagine how fucking exhausted you'd be after that.
Yeah, you're dragging around body parts and digging holes and shit.
Yeah, chopping off monster body parts, digging holes.
You've been up all day too.
Yeah. Like, man, he is going crazy. How does he have all that energy? And then
PCP,
Swedish lady comes over and she's like, I need you to watch my son.
Oh, this is my little boy. It's not Swedish. Whoa, I went German there for a second.
Avita sing.
Hello. This is my boy. He is here for the babysitting.
Hello. A golden retriever also got one of the monster hands.
That's Norm's golden retriever.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was walking it at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And he's walking it again on Roger's front lawn when he sees Roger jump out of the house.
Yeah, because that's where his dookies go. His dog dookies. Yeah, so the monster hand's free, and it's attached to the little kid's back like a backpack. And the little kid doesn't seem to notice. Mm-mm. He's not like, monster came on my back.
Even though that hand looks like it weighs about 15 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a big, meaty sausage hand. And he's like, oh, don't worry, I can't babysit, but I'll grab him out of the house real quick because the kid's running around.
Yeah. And he takes him into the bathroom.
Yes. This scene.
And the kid's crying.
And they come out of the bathroom, and the kid's crying.
And he's like, oh, yeah, he just had to go potty, and she's like, cool, no problem. I don't see any problems with this.
Yeah, whatever. Here's all his toys. See you later.
Yep, and then she ditches him. So, yeah, she just doesn't care. You're right. She's just trying to get cast in, like, the next, like, big picture.
This adds nothing to the movie. I don't know why it's
I don't know why the scene is in there.
That's for runtime. Like, they patted it out like, oh, man, this movie's only going to run about an hour and 10 minutes.
Well,
let's add a Swedish lady.
Well, I was like, so he's got to babysit? And maybe they're going to get up to, like...
I thought they were
it'll be like him having to protect this kid. Like,
that's
he can protect his son. But then nothing happens after the hand thing, and she just comes and picks him up.
Well, there's a one point where, like, the kid, it looks like he might be about to get kidnapped by the little monsters. And
in the chimney. I was thinking while that scene was happening, like, that little kid's body would not be able to support. Like, he would have been torn in half.
Yeah,
like he would have had so much internal damage, right?
It was the Solomon kind of situation here.
Yeah, because the monsters are pulling up through the chimney, and then dude is just like got him by the ankles, and basically
he's like, "Don't worry, Robert. I'm gonna pull. I got the bottom half. It's the important half."
Well, there's parts where like he's got no leverage, and it's basically he's just hanging on the kid. Dude, like, will a little kid be able to support like 160 pounds? We'll say because he's a little guy, kind of.
No,
I don't think like that would hurt the kid so bad. And then he gets his like toes curled in around the fireplace, and he's pulling on him, and the monsters are pulling on him, and man, that kid grew like 3 inches that day.
And then he gives him a bath.
Yeah, no, not weird. Just a stranger's kid, just give him a bath. They watch his wife in a soap opera. I was thinking, For a second, I thought he was gonna lean over to the kid and be like, "That's my wife," but nah, he just goes to sleep. That scene, for some reason, it triggered a thought, like a personal feeling, where because the kid goes to sleep and he gets up and turns off the TV and like goes to a different room.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh man, I was thinking about I hate environmental changes when I'm asleep and when I wake up, especially when it's naps for some reason."
Yeah,
and so like the idea of like for some reason I was imagining like waking up and being like silent and later and how much it would bother me waking up, and I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna make it through this life. Like all this weird shit bothers me. So I had like just a momentary existential crisis where I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do?
I have one of those. I have a couple of those.
Just thinking about the dread of like sometimes it sucks waking up from a nap. Yeah, I'm too sensitive. But yeah, there's smooth sailing. He just gives her back to the Swedish lady. She kissed him on the mouth before she left. Europeans, I guess, right? I don't know what that was about. When she's when she's in her swimsuit, he's like, "Oh, I'm divorced." He's like into it.
He's like, "I'm gonna get some of that booty."
Yeah. They show her walking away, and she's got 80s booty. Where were all the butts at in the 80s? No one did like butt exercises.
No.
Damn.
We're still a few years away from Sir Mix-a-Lot at this point.
That's true. But then even Sir Mix-a-Lot, as hard as he tried, he couldn't get through the white girls in the 90s. They're all trying to look like Friends. I mean, like Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston. And
Phoebe Buffet.
Phoebe Buffett. She was cool. I mean, they didn't ever. Her thing was like they never like showed off her figure.
Rockin' Bob.
Yeah, they always wanted to make her look frumpy or like bohemian or whatever. But then she still just kind of looked like a mom. Yeah, so that's my sexist criticism of Friends or women in the 80s and 90s. Or
yeah, you just want that badunk is what I...
Or like a way sexual secondary sex characteristic preference changes culturally. Or... I don't know, but my main point here is
Swedish lady got no butt.
Where's the butt at? What'd you do with your butt? What can I say though? I keep doing squats and working out, and it's not helping my butt. It's turning into like two flat pieces of strong meat. But men like
2 flank steaks pressed to my jeans.
Yeah, you like hardly ever see men with good butts though. I think, especially like white boys. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's like how to get it going.
Kettlebell exercises.
Yeah,
it's like, not squats. It's actually shit. I can't remember.
Walking up hills and stuff. We'll do more. I can do uphill running or something. I don't know. It's a little bit for aesthetic purposes, but mostly it's also like
I need to hold my pants.
Yeah, like I need my pants to stay up. What's the deal with that? Belts don't even help. I sit down and it's just coming out because there's nothing blocking it. It's 2 flat pieces of steak back there. Life's crazy, man. I don't know how I'm gonna make it.
Now we go into the climax of the movie.
Yeah, so this is where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna now actually make it about how he's dealing with his guilt from leaving his friend in Vietnam. But that guilt is gonna be personified as that guy he left in Vietnam as a skeleton, who has apparently orchestrated everything the house has ever done. Like he purposely stole his son to get back at him. And he is the soul of the man he abandoned as a skeleton monster. Because when he was getting taken by the VC, he was like, I'll fucking get you for this.
He's like, kill me, I'm dying, Raj, kill me.
Yeah, but he wasn't brave enough. No. The dude was right. He's like, no, I went to get help. And it's like, nah, you pussied out, man. Also, like, when he's like, kill me, he was like gonna slit his throat.
Yeah, that's not how I would kill him.
I just like try to get the heart.
Yeah. Or I mean, like, they have
he's got
sidearms.
He's got a gun on.
Just do it. Just take the hit.
Yeah, no, so he did just kind of wimp out. Well, he does say, like, the VC captured him and tortured him for years. So I guess I probably would be pretty upset about that. But I don't know if I would be so upset that I'm like, well, I'm gonna get revenge in the afterlife by stealing your kids and putting them in a cage in a fake Vietnam.
That exists in my mind.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is all of it could easily be like, this isn't actually happening. It's him going crazy and dealing with the guilt of all these different situations. But then I mean, he does rescue his son from the ghost land. How was his son surviving? What were they feeding him? Like ghost goo? Ectoplasm. Dad, I survived off the ectoplasm.
I got that ectoplasm.
Because it's been like a year. Well, they don't specify.
Some time has passed.
Some time has passed. It's been enough time that for them him and his wife to have like separated, gone their separate ways. His aunt's died. He hasn't been to the house in a while. Like it's been enough time where like, I guess when you're in the ghost realm.
Can I just lay some shit on you real quick? If my kid got kidnapped or disappeared and I didn't know where they're at, and like even if I'm a famous writer and they want me to go do these like book signings, I guess if I really, really needed the money, I'd go to the book signing. But I would be such a fucking dick to all these people that are signing, like, yeah, get the fuck out of here, you piece of shit.
I'd probably do that even without having like lost my son. When you see people post like, oh, I got a picture with Jason Momoa at random comic event.
Well, I mean, it's not
Michigan.
a random comic event. They paid to get that photo of Jason.
Well, no,
Momoa.
that's what I mean. Like when the actor, like in Jason Momoa's situation, like I realized like they walk away with like garbage bags of like cash from that shit. That's why they do it. And I mean, I would be tempted to do it if I was like some nerd icon, but for some reason, I just know I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna do your goofy like fucking. Because
have you seen the photos like what Edward Furlong is doing like the fan photos?
Edward Furlong's still around. Huh? Yeah. Tell me more. How does he look these days?
He's gonna be in the new Terminator movie. So
is he still huge?
No, I saw a picture of him like from a year ago. He's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
He doesn't look that bad last time I saw him.
Oh,
but
cool.
Yeah, but I mean, he's like grabbing people and like making faces. I could probably do that.
I don't know.
Not the grabbing people part.
It's everyone always with Jason Momoa specifically. It's always like, oh, my girlfriend's hugging him and he's like pushing me away and blah, blah. Like if someone like asked me to do that shit, I'd be like, nah, get out of your fucking cuck fetish.
No, but how about I hug you and we push her away?
Yeah. Not to kink shame anyone, but for some reason that one just like
I don't get that one.
I don't know if I'd want to participate in that one, and then also I just really don't like
I really don't like Jason Momoa.
I don't like the comic book convention nerd culture at all. Even though I'm like obviously abreast of it, adjacent to it, but I just
you would have liked it like 20 years ago before like Twilight started showing up.
Maybe I don't think so. I maybe would have been naive to like the toxicity of the culture, but I think it was probably even worse 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It's like because it's still not very inclusive and it's still weird and grossly like male power fantasy. You know what I mean? Like there's just.
Did you know that you can't have a black woman as James Bond because of something about the male power fantasy or something?
Please stop making James Bond movies. I don't give a fuck about James Bond. He's absolutely like a pillar to the weird British Anglo-Saxon gentleman power fantasy bullshit. He kills for God, king, and country. Like fuck that shit. That's garbage. Like how is he a hero? How does anyone watch these stupid movies where, oh shit, it's Daniel Craig running fast. Oh, he's driving a car. Oh, he seduced a woman. For like, how have they made? I understand why they were being made in the 70s and 80s when everything was just like stupid masculinity, low effort trash. You know what I mean? Like I get like Moonraker and shit. How have they been being made like the last 20 years? And how do people become excited when they're coming out and they're like prestige films now and shit? And like, did you hear Adele did the new opening song for the new James Bond? It's like, yeah, that sounds like some perfect like Anglo garbage that I do not give a fuck about.
Hello,
James.
Is it me? Oh, sorry.
No, it's everything about it is just like absolute trash to me. Like I just know like who has ever cared about this shit. I do not get it. Even from the standpoint of being like a cult film, like weirdo film kind of dude, even the ones that fall into that category, like I have no interest in watching. Like Moonraker's really bad.
Like the original Casino Royale?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna watch them though because like it's just everything about it was gross, fucking gross. And then, so then they're gonna have a black woman be James Bond now. And she will still reinforce the imperial upper class subjugation of other black women that is prevalent.
She's gonna seduce a black woman in this.
So she is gonna be a misogynist.
Yeah.
And kill for God, king, and country.
No, queen.
Oh yeah, and but she'll be a black woman.
Yeah.
Cool. How very liberal. Yeah. So yeah, I don't care about that shit. Just James Bond's canceled in general, in my opinion. It should have never been made. It's just Ian Flemish's like masturbation fantasies.
Fleming.
Is it Fleming?
Not Flemish. Fleming.
But his name basically means that he's of Flemish descent, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. That's right. They came over from northern Germany, in England too.
Everybody in England came over from northern Germany.
Yeah, it was the Angles, the Jutes, the Saxons, and the Flemish.
And the Normans.
They came later.
But they're still...
Yeah, and they were Frenchified at that point. They had like their own like... a different culture. It wasn't like northern German Viking warrior stuff. It was more like, oh, we're very regal and important because they happen to make up monarchy. I don't know, basically the entire history of Northern Europe, a bunch of garbage. Bunch of garbage people.
And the Irish.
Actually, most of the world, when you think about it. Everyone's out here having slaves, killing each other. Humans are just bad.
Humans are shitty with each other.
Yeah. And that's what House is all about. Is
people being shitty with each other.
A bunch of people were put in a shitty situation called the Vietnam conflict, and he had to leave his friend to die, and
his friend's ghost is real upset about it.
Yeah, his guilt manifests as an actual antagonist. He becomes a real supernatural skeleton man that's gonna kill his kids.
That's a cool creature design.
He looks fucking great. I love
Skeleton
like,
Ben,
fucking Iron Maiden military skeleton man. That's why I'm so excited for Death Stranding because they got military skeletons. Yeah, it's really cool. He blows them up with a grenade, but basically it's the same sort of Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger kind of situation where he's like, "I'm not afraid of you anymore. Now you have no power, but I'll still grenade your ass." To completely establish that this shit was all real, even though it didn't seem like it, and it could have gone one way or the other, and everything was just kind of a mess. His wife shows up just in time for him to walk out with their son, and she's just like, "What?" You'd think she'd be like, "What?" It cuts away before you really see like the dawning of the realization, but you'd think she'd just be like fucking lose her mind.
Oh yeah, I think if this is me in her situation, I saw him walk out of a burning house with my son.
That I'm dead for years,
dead or kidnapped for a year, maybe longer, maybe a little bit less, but long enough that like, oh fuck. I'd probably drop to the floor and just start bursting out crying.
I'd like, I'm cursed God. I don't understand. Yeah. Also, the way
I would have cursed God probably like a year and a half ago, but
I just love cursing God. I also like the way the shot's framed when she like gets down on her knees and puts her arms out in the middle of the street and he's running to her. For some reason, I was like, there's a bus is just gonna drive by and kill him both.
That would have been the perfect ending to this comedy horror movie.
Comedy horror film.
Comedy horror. I'm using quotes on both.
There's comedy. There's the wacky monster hand, and
if you want to see like comedic wacky monster hand, you should watch Army of Darkness.
Yeah, they kind of did just snatch it up, or the Addams Family.
Oh, that's even better.
Yep. Yeah, because Angelica Houston as Morticia Addams blew my mind when I was a kid. I've had a crush on Angelica Houston ever since. Even like in like Royal Tenenbaums when she
was older.
Like, yeah, I'm like, fuck, Angelica Houston. Wow, what a dame. Morticia Addams. Wow. She was dating or married to Jack Nicholson when Roman Polanski raped a young girl in their home.
Yeah, but they weren't home, were they?
No, they were out of town. Yeah. I just thought I'd throw it out there. Hollywood's fucking weird. Also, I always forget it's Jack. I know it's Jack Nicholson, and I always say it is Jack Nicholson, but in my head I'm like, Jack Nicholas?
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, weird, huh? His sister was actually his mom, and his grandparents were his parents.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah. So there's some more Hollywood trivia for you. They also called him Irish. That was his nickname. Oh, yeah, old Irish.
Yeah, old Irish.
Nicholson, Irish him?
Is that his real name, though?
I don't know. But in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, my favorite Jack Nicholson movie, maybe Chinatown. No, it's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Speaking of Roman Polanski.
yeah. His character's name is Mick Murphy, so there you go.
It's like naming a Swedish dude Bjorn Bjornsson.
Yeah. I don't remember what his first name is in it, but it's probably Patrick or Sean.
I was just thinking about it the other day. Like my kids have my my daughter so much. My two sons have some very Irish names.
Yeah. Well, you do too.
It's
Sean
Thomas McDonald.
I feel like Sean and Patrick are the most cliche ones. I'm trying to think of the ones that are also like
James?
ethnic slurs.
Oh,
So Patty is Patrick, yeah. Mick, but that's because of last names. Yeah, whatever. And that's House. Blows him with a grenade.
unfortunately.
And there's just like a freeze frame of our hero standing in the doorway of his burning house, and he looks just kind of like he needs a shit. You know what I mean? Like he's like, I did it. It's a fun movie. It's not made very well. I know.
Watch it.
We mostly shit on it. But
Watch it with a drink. Have some fun with it.
Yeah, just watch it. And like the monsters are cool. The monster that comes out of the closet looks like I said, it looks like it came from Bloodborne.
I do like the bat skeletons too when he jumps into the mirror.
Oh, and it steals a shotgun.
And the way it flips it around and that's pretty cool too. But
Yeah.
again, the creature designs are the best part of this.
Yeah, and
soundtrack awful, lighting is terrible, especially when they're in Vietnam. It looks like a bunch of house plants lit by someone's kitchen light.
When they first go there, I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna have a goofy like bad set Vietnam, and they straight up did, and I was like, oh god, I love it. And I love when Big Ben.
I feel like since it's a flashback, and then they're gonna go into that Vietnam, and it's like a mirror world, a demon world. They could have lit that really crazy.
Yeah,
like they lit things in Mandy.
Yeah, Mandy, you finally watched it. The best movie of last year, 2018,
Mandy.
Mandy. What's going to be the best movie of 2019? I forgot which ones I liked already.
Aladdin.
I haven't seen anything that really like struck me as much as Mandy, but Mandy just happens to hit all the right notes of the weird shit that I like.
I will say Mandy felt a little long for me, but
well, you're wrong. Everything's better with cheddar.
I'm just saying, like, you can cut like 10 minutes from the first half, 10 minutes from the second half. Still comes in at about hour and 40, hour and 45, and I think that's my opinion.
They wronged you.
Oh man, again should have been Iggy Pop.
Yeah. Oh, he kind of looks like him and sounds like him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then
bye, Lizzie.
His like character's like so high in that scene.
He's so high in the last 45 minutes.
Yeah, after he drinks the like LSD sludge from the biker demons. If any of this sounds cool to you or crazy or weird that we're talking about, this shit is all in Mandy. Watch Mandy. They play like
I'm pretty sure Nicolas Cage is supposed to be like a Vietnam vet too.
Yeah, because it takes place in like 82 or 83 in Oregon. Yeah, he's supposed to be the vet. That's why he's got shit together, and he goes to visit his friend who's actually was kind of wearing his Vietnam vet coat. That jacket they always have. There's legit at one point they play like a Jade Ocarina to summon biker demons. It's great. It's
LSD bikers. Acid bikers.
They can just manifest and do crazy shit. They're demons.
They seem to die pretty easily, except for the one that gets hit by a car.
Well, there's the tagline in the trailer where it's like it exists in its own disturbing horror realm, and it's like it just like seems like a different world. Well, then they even show like the sky as he's riding to meet the chemist who makes the drugs, and there's multiple planetary objects in the sky.
Yeah, but he's also just taking a shit ton of biker LSD.
Yeah, well, I've taken a shit ton of LSD. I've never seen two goddamn suns.
Yeah, but it's also the bad kind of LSD.
Oh. Yeah, we don't actually know what it is. It's like sludge.
Well, his friend is like, oh, I heard they got some bad LSD and they went fucking nuts.
Yeah, but you can't trust anything that happens in the movie.
That's my point.
Yeah. This is fucking awesome, man. There's a tiger in it.
There's a goddamn spirit animal.
Batman, Christian Bale, Batman's dad, is the cult leader.
You see his peepers.
Oh, yeah. You see his weenus. All right, so that was House. That was Mandy. If you have two options of what a movie to watch on a first date, and the options are House or Mandy, you choose Mandy. Well, anytime you have a date that is early into a relationship and it has something to do with watching a movie, the movie you're gonna want to watch is Mandy.
Remember that the dude we knew that he would judge whether or not he's gonna be friends with someone based on their opinion of I Heart Huckabees.
Oh my god, yeah.
He wasn't our friend. He was someone else.
Yeah, a friend of a friend. Man, but it's like this bland David O. Russell film. Yeah, they need to know if they understand the simplest philosophical concepts ever addressed in a film.
I did like I Heart Huckabee.
It's not a terrible movie, but it's not like it's presented.
It's not like it's Mandy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not challenging in any way. And like,
I don't know. It's challenging a little bit.
If you showed I Heart,
if you have no experience with existentialism, I would argue that it is challenging to a certain extent.
Well, first off, using film and shit that you like as a litmus test to date someone, that's like some caveman shit. That said, if you show someone...
if you don't like Goonies, I'm not going to be friends with you.
Oh no.
You like Goonies? Shut the fuck up.
I just don't think it's... Nah, it has there's a reason why it's such like a cultural touchstone.
Yeah, well, we can talk about this a little bit because we're far afield, but my biggest problem with Stranger Things, right? Why do the kids in Goonies go on their adventure?
Well, because they find a map and like, fucking let's do it.
You don't remember? Like the kids, they're all about to move away or be forced to move away because their land development is coming through, and they're going off to find some rich stuff to save their houses.
Yeah. That just wasn't a concern for kids in the 80s, so that's why it doesn't happen in Stranger Things. Oh, yeah, but still, if you're going to show someone I Heart Huckabees and determine, like, their opinion on the film, whether you're going to date them or not, I feel like so many people are going to watch that film and be like, yeah, okay, it's fucking boring. Mark Wahlberg was funny.
Yeah.
You know,
he's always funny when he's not beating up Vietnamese people.
I think better is to show him that behind the scenes clip where David O. Russell is getting a screaming match with Lily Tomlin. Show that to someone and have them then decide if you want to date him or not. Like, well, what was your feelings about that?
Who do you like after this, Lily Tomlin or David O. Russell?
Or just show him that the version of Regulate I showed you with Bert and Ernie. Like, what do you think about this? I don't know. I've never really had any like litmus test bullshit for dating girls. In fact, like one of my girlfriends at one time, I was like, oh, just casually, we were already dating and stuff. And I was like, oh, have you ever seen Lord of the Rings? And she's like, nah, I feel like that's one of those movies where dudes are always, when they're trying to like hit on you or talk, or just like, oh, you haven't seen Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Yes. And that's Star Wars absolutely isn't worth watching, in my opinion. If you didn't watch it as a kid, you're not going to enjoy it now. But I was like, we should probably watch Lord of the Rings. And then we did, and she kind of liked the Fellowship, and then thought it was kind of boring after that. And I get it too, because I think I do have nostalgia goggles for Lord of the Rings too.
I don't know. I haven't seen them in such a long time.
I don't know.
Fellowship, I think, absolutely holds up.
Yeah, I think I can make a convincing argument of academically, philosophically, all sorts of arguments could be made about why Lord of the Rings is good and an important trilogy of films. However, it is such a big commitment. Like, if you're not actively wanting to watch it, you know, you're just gonna be like, well, okay.
I mean, it is a big commitment, but at the same time, it's not as big commitment as people make in TV shows all the time.
That's true, but I don't know. It's not like I forced her to watch it, but you know, if you're not
tied her down, you're like, if you don't watch this, we're not going to date anymore. And I don't like you, and I'll tell all your friends.
We were both sick at one point, I think, and it was like, oh,
that's a perfect day
it's time to watch Lord of the Rings, I guess. Fucking, it doesn't matter. Let people like what they like, but you don't gotta be friends with people that like bad stuff, like Twitch memes and far right politics. So only let people like what they like up to a certain extent.
No, you can let them like what you like, but you don't have to like them, I guess is the roundabout, right?
Yeah, I guess do what thou will, but there's consequences.
What movie do we watch next?
Next, we are watching The Wraith.
I got goddamn tiger's blood.
Yeah, it's got Charlie Sheen in it. It's one.
Although he doesn't have tiger's blood, he's got HIV blood.
That's tiger blood.
Oh. Is it feline AIDS?
Yeah, FIV, right? Isn't what they call it?
Yeah,
that's tiger blood. Tiger blood is also like a good flavor of candy.
Yeah,
and
lollipops
and
snow cones.
I always get tiger blood snow cones.
I like to get half tiger's blood, half banana.
Yeah, but we're gonna watch The Wraith. It's if anyone's familiar with Kavinsky, and I'm sure people are, they just don't realize it, because Kavinsky is kind of the producer that really brought synthwave back. And then everyone just kind of copied Kavinsky forever and ever and ever.
You're still doing it?
But his the character he created for one of his albums, The Dead Cruiser, which is like a high school student who comes back to life and he drives around in his Ferrari Testarossa, like racing people and shit. It's real spooky and cool. There's some cool music videos that have to do with The Dead Cruiser. basically Kavinsky's way cooler than you and way cooler than the other synthwave shit you listen to. That said, he did just get the idea from The Wraith. So that's the movie you're watching next. And unfortunately, the soundtrack in The Wraith isn't as good as you would expect. Actually, at one point, like a couple years ago or something, another time I was sick, I was watching The Wraith.
You're like, I'm going to do my own soundtrack.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, someone should really do like a different soundtrack to this movie. And it would just throw some Kavinsky songs in there, honestly. And that about wraps it up for Space Force. Sorry I didn't mention Eating Butt this episode.
Are we supposed to mention it every episode?
We just got to keep people fully abreast of Eating Butt.
I think people are aware of Eating Butts.
Yeah, keep third eye open.
Seems like it's pretty popular these days.
I actually I just assume most people on the internet have never had sex.
I don't know if that's an accurate assumption, but I feel like a lot of people have sex wrong.
Well, I was reading some Ask Reddit thread, which I don't remember what it was about, but somehow one of the comments devolved into like, like you can like break your penis from certain positions. Yeah. But then somehow people were talking about like, oh yeah, that's why it's not good for women to sneeze while you're having sex. It's like, you never had a girl sneeze while you're having sex. It's like, oh, it's so painful. And it was really like tons of comments where no one challenged this at all. And I was like, shit, here's 40 people who've never had sex. Because they're thinking that because of the involuntary muscle contraction of sneezing, that somehow she's gonna her Kegel muscles are just gonna be so strong.
Had the sex enough that I'm sure someone's had a sneeze, but I don't remember it being a problem.
No, and also like I had a girlfriend who like specifically worked out her Kegels all the time, like not even realizing she was supposed to do it. It was just like a habit she got into when she was really young, and her Kegel muscles were really strong, and you could feel them during sex and stuff. But it's like, no way are those muscles ever going to be strong enough to like cause pain because they sneeze. You know what I mean? It's like straight up like bad women's anatomy type shit. And I was like, fucking for real, like the 50 Milquetoast ass like shitty white dudes right here on Reddit who've never had sex talking about women's bodies. I was like, holy
like
shit.
When you grab a breast and it feels like a sandbag.
Yeah. No one challenged it at all. I was like, man, they're just gonna go forever, aren't they? Here comes the sex havers. These guys know a lot about sex. So basically, if you're posted on Reddit, you enjoy the internet, you're in there doing like Pog U and Pepe hands on Twitch and shit, you're a virgin and I know it. Asmongold.
You're a virgin and I know it.
Asmongold, you bald motherfucking World of Warcraft dude, I know you're a virgin, bro.
Oh, that's not very nice. Just because he's bald and fat? I assume he's fat. I don't know who he is.
No, he's like way too thin.
He's super
asshole.
Skinny?
He's one of the guys that like tries to carefully avoid letting out that he's racist or misogynistic and stuff.
One of those guys is like, oh, I just said the N-word because I was angry.
I don't know if he's ever said it, but like he
you know what I mean. Like,
he provides a safe space for people who with those beliefs. Absolutely, you know what I mean.
That's like
he coddles and protects the right.
Who was it? Like
PewDiePie. He said the N-word. Yeah.
And he's like, it was because I was angry.
It was a heated gamer moment. Yeah,
whatever. Fucking dumbass.
It was a heated gamer moment. Oh no, he's gonna use
heated up. First of all, I don't get that heated about games.
He's gonna use the gamer word. No, but it's just the media's out to get PewDiePie. That's all. It's not that he hosts, includes, and coddles the far right.
Doesn't he donate to certain far right causes as well? I think I remember seeing that or reading that.
Donations, but he's definitely propped up Ben Shapiro to his juvenile, highly impressionable audience.
Old Ben Shapiro.
He basically has his cults convinced that.
Why don't we have a cult?
Because I would like to have an audience of intelligent, like-minded people.
No, that's not how you make money.
And the way to make a cult, though, is you just like gotta have impressionable, dumb people.
I got kids
like
to feed.
Children.
I have kids to feed.
Oh,
I got 5 kids to feed.
I guess we could go after like the festival scene type people.
Yeah, there's lots of dumb people on the super left too. I see them.
Well, I was thinking there's definitely like some of the things I talk about and believe I could easily just like. Oh yeah, fucking psychedelics and loose spiritualism. So
I'm familiar with loose spiritualism. There's someone that's going to be in the Democratic debates in a couple weeks.
Marianne, you mean?
Do you know she had her own version of gay conversion therapy?
Oh really?
Yeah, but not like pray the gay away, but visualize the gay away, basically.
Damn it! Why did you tell me that?
Oh, I mean, Okay. I'm sorry.
You're crushing all my dreams about Marianne. I believed in her somewhat.
You didn't actually believe it. You just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
You just thought she was interesting. I mean,
she is interesting.
It's interesting, but at the same time, like, dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Joe Biden's interesting, but dangerous.
In a different way. But
I'm not saying much. And also, you got Booty Judge, which is what your son calls him, right?
Yeah.
Your 6-year-old son heard him his name in the debates. And just started walking around saying Booty Judge. Space Force, McVenture Productions.
I'm at Sean McDonald on Twitter.
I'm at Kyle Main with 2 Y's.
And there's a Patreon, but McVentureProductions.com is where you want to go because you'll find everything.
Yeah, McVentureProductions.com. That's got all the shits. All the shits. Review us on iTunes or some shit. I don't know if iTunes exists anymore. Straight up, I don't know. Fucking, or just go on Twitch and spam Asmongold's chat with links to our podcast. This episode specifically where I call him out. And do what thou will. Some other shit. Space Force.